Hi there. My name is Stan Holt, and I am one of the owners of Partners for Impact, along with my business partner, Beth Bordeaux. And you can find a lot of information about us on our website if you simply Google and go to partnersforimpact.com. And once there, you're going to discover that we are a company that's really committed to helping communities build their capacity to create change. And we do that at the individual level. We do that at the organizational level, what we call the systems level, kind of the network of organizations, and then the overall community level. And one of the things that we truly believe is that if a community wants to create change, they have to understand the system that they are a part of. And to do that, we encourage communities to develop a systems map. And this little video talks about a systems map that we have developed for the Kaleidoscope project. And the Kaleidoscope project is a funded initiative of the John Rex Endowment. And we've been working with them for over 6 years. And its purpose is to design and create places and spaces for children in order to improve their social and emotional well-being. And during the first phase of the Kaleidoscope project, the project itself spent some time and learned that in order to change places and spaces, it was essential to get households, particularly families with children, to have their voice be a part of the design process. And Kaleidoscope staff really spent time educating individuals at various agency levels and creating projects that integrated the voice and power sharing in the projects that were designed to change places and spaces. So as the Kaleidoscope project began to do that education, individuals who were part of an organization began to really understand and see the importance and value of bringing the community members to the table to participate in decision making around places and spaces. So individual staff at agencies having an awareness, individual staff beginning to really include community members. And when I say community members in this situation, I'm really beginning to think about who the clients of an organization might be. Some of them may be service recipients. Some of them may be members of a neighborhood. Some of them may be residents in a apartment complex. So whoever those community members are, having them participate in making changes in places and spaces creates a more equitable process, because those who are living in the community have had a input and a say-so in the process of redesigning their places and spaces. So again, what you can begin to see here is that individual staff, you begin to see this little loop where as individual staff begin to understand it, they integrate it, community members participate, the spaces are designed, and then here we are again at this individual staff member level saying, oh my gosh, there's a value to integrating power sharing and community voice. So one of the other pieces that we know of this map is that individuals make up organizations. And what we discovered over the past few years is that individuals who participated in the projects that were completed by the Kaleidoscope project, individuals who participated in those projects went back to their organizations, and organizations began to start integrating and thinking, and some change their policies and structures to actually include community voice and power. That's ultimately what we wanted to see. And that in turn, as organizations even more formally begin to structure those in the process. And that could be anything from a neighborhood advisory council or a apartment resident council, or perhaps some sort of youth advisory board for a project that is working with young adults. Any of those, integrating that community voice and having that very specifically in the organization is also flipped back to where individuals, staff members begin to include those community member voices. But what's also interesting is that you can begin to see that as community members participate in decision making about places and spaces, they really have a greater sense of their voice, sense of what they bring to the table, and can actually influence the organizations themselves. Again, through structures that might exist in the organization, and sometimes both formal and informal structures that might exist. The community has the power and voice and will influence organizations. But once we have organizations, and as organizations begin to talk to each other, organizations begin to form networks. And networks begin to be made up of individuals and organizations that are all kind of part of, historically speaking, part of the Kaleidoscope project as it started and as it continues to evolve, becoming a network who understand the importance of power sharing and community voice. And as they understand that, those members of the network begin to be advocates. They begin to be advocates for ways in which that community voice and power sharing can be integrated into systems. And what we know is that systems actually provide incentives and resources to organizations in order to include community voice, which in turn impacts the organizations and their use of community voice. So you have these two loops. Over here on the left-hand side, you see where the organizations and the individuals within those organizations impact community voice. You see how community voice impacts both the projects and the individual staff, but how it influences the organization. But let's remember that the community voice can also be part of that network that begins to advocate and have around incentives and resources for power sharing and community voice in systems, which also influences that piece of the work. So one of the things that's important about Kaleidoscope is that they focus on several elements of this piece, but more importantly, kind of summarizing it, it's over on the network side, convening the network, helping the network communicate with each other, and helping them define what that advocacy role might be. And it's not necessarily advocacy in terms of lobbying. It's the little things that can be done around allocating resources in budgets and things like that. The Kaleidoscope project is also working with organizations and individuals within those organizations to help increase their awareness and understanding of places and spaces, and changing those places and spaces so that the child's well-being is in fact improved. So this is just a really simple example of what we do at Partners for Impact. I think it's really important to just remind you that one of the things that we really understand at Partners for Impact is that we work at the individual, we work at the organization level, we work at the systems level, and we work at the community level. And we have different approaches and variety of services that work at those levels, right? We can do strategy development at the organizational and community level. We can evaluate pieces of this project, as we have been the evaluator with the Kaleidoscope project. We can talk about how do we engage community in these types of maps, and we can do individual and team coaching and development. So this is an example of a systems map. We encourage you to kind of play with it, look at it, begin to think about what system you are a part of. And if you need help, certainly reach out to myself, Stan at partnersforimpact.com. or my business partner, Beth, at partnersforimpact.com. You can visit our website, partnersforimpact.com, and find out all sorts of information through some of our other projects about how we work. And in the meantime, take some time, think about the system you're a part of, and think about the change you want to create.